All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order for the purpose. Have a motion? All in second? All in favor? All right, and I think, Jonathan, you're going to give us a proposed budget. Run
Yes,
over
sir.
it.
So just to get us started out tonight, Mallory, if you'll open up that budget file right there. Thank you, thank you. In our budget file, one of the things you'll see very quickly in there initially is a very quick budget overview of how our budget timeline-wise is developed, as well as some of the major talking points related to our budget for the year and how some of the factors that went into putting it together. On the 5th page, Mallory, there's an area there that talks about some of the expenditure factors that we have been trying to mitigate and work around as part of the budget. One area that's not listed there is that we have also identified and reduced about $7 million worth of expenditures out of this budget to try and help with those numbers. From there, if you go down to the 13th page, Mallory, you'll see there a full summary of all funds for the FY26 budget. This is everything from federal grants to capital projects. The big item of focus is usually the general fund because that's what our general operations come from. For the year, we are looking at roughly $382 million of revenues. That being said, right now the millage rate that we have listed is a placeholder only. That has not been decided or finalized. And then also expenditures of roughly $382.845 million. It's important to remember that 85% of our budget, in this year it's about 84%, is for teachers, salaries, benefits, and those of our classified employees as well. So if there's any questions or anything that y'all would like to know, just please let me know, and if not, we'll get started.
Jonathan, you identified $7 million that we found out. Was it? Did we say $6 million 2 weeks ago? So has it been like $1 million?
No, sir. It's $7 million.
It was 7 then
Yes,
too.
sir.
Okay, I had it in my 6. My bad.
Brian, we didn't hear what you asked about $7 million.
Oh, in terms of Jonathan was reporting on funds that we've found to be able to cut and remove. And I thought, I had it in my mind 6, and he said 7, and that's great.
Keep in mind, too, just in terms of before we take public comment for the boards, and again, you're well aware of this. First of all, when we talk about the homestead exemption legislation from 2 years ago, which reset values to FY23 rates, that was about a $7 to $8 million loss this year alone in revenues. Georgia has 181 school districts, and when you rank them highest expenditures to lowest, 1 to 181, your district ranks, as it has for the last 20 years, in the lowest quartile of per pupil expenditures with students. As a dad, as Brian said, I'm not sure that's something that we ought to be proud of, but I do think that's a fact, and those facts are stubborn things. We had some talk at our last meeting about reserve funds, which are very different from surplus funds, and the terms were being used interchangeably. I would remind you, for government entities or for schools, a surplus or a deficit has to do with how much money did you take in this year and how much did you spend. We ran at about a $7 million deficit last year because of the change in the homestead exemption. Whereas a reserve fund or a rainy day fund, or what people keep in their savings account in case tough times come, is very different, and that happens over multiple years. We also had some suggestion that there was a law that maybe we weren't following that had to do with 15% maximum for reserve funds. Being a superintendent 26 years, that did used to be the law for everyone. And then probably 15 years ago, we went to the vast majority of Georgia's districts being what's called, strategic waiver districts. 135 out of Georgia's 181 districts are strategic waiver districts. Code 20, Section 20 of the Georgia Code is waived. So there actually is no law for strategic waiver systems or for the charter systems, which make up all but one other district in the state of Georgia. Also, and I have to believe the General Assembly passed new legislation last year raising that from 15 to 25% because they realized these uncertain times that we're living in. As a matter of fact, Georgia is a perfect example, which has about a $36 billion budget on an annual basis, currently has about a 40% reserve fund that they can use either for rainy day or for unexpected turns in the economy. So once again, it's important that we're dealing from a position of facts, and just wanted to point those things out before we begin.
And our reserve fund would be about a little less than 3 months expenditures. So as most business would keep operating expenses of 3 to 6 months, we're slightly under 3 months with our current reserve fund.
He can't hear you, Craig.
Sorry. Our reserve fund, most businesses would keep 3 to 6 months of operational funds. Our current reserve fund is slightly less than 3 months of what we would need for operational. Any other comments before we start? Question? If not, we'll go to the list that have signed up to speak. Greg?
Thank you, and good evening. I appreciate everything that you were able to lay out here. It really helps to put things in perspective and understand things. But respectfully, I wish to point out that the reason that we had the homestead exemption reset and some of the limitations is because, respectfully, again, the voters have had enough. We do not get the we have to operate under financial constraints as well, and we do not get the luxury of voting ourselves pay increases and salary increases. I do understand the problems that you're facing. Challenges of retaining good staff. We've unfortunately had to be in a position to pull our son out of Hall County schools because of some of those very same resource limitations. Thankfully, we're blessed enough that we've been able to pay for his education twice. Taxes is what it is. It's a way of life, always has been, always will be. But getting back to my point of the voters have spoken on this. When you raise taxes, when the Board of Commissioners raises taxes, whether it be a millage rate, appraisal increase, whatever you want to call it, that makes things more expensive across the board. Businesses, they pass on those costs to consumers. Property owners, rental property owners, they pass that along to those tenants. And ultimately, it's kind of a weird version of Reagan's trickle-down economics, where it all trickles down to us. And very respectfully, we understand that there are challenges here. We understand that cuts probably will have to be made, and it's going to inconvenience people. But we're saying enough. We're not in a position to pay more taxes. We're respectfully asking you to not increase taxes at this point. I understand it's the Board of Commissioners that ultimately passes this, but the Board of Education, the school budget, is upwards of 50%, probably close to 60% of the tax revenue that's brought in from property taxes. So we're asking you to keep that in mind, and I very much thank you for your time, the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Just to be clear, the county commission is completely separate from the school board. We approve our rate, they approve theirs, so they're separate rates.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Susan?
Good evening. For the past 2 years, I've been pointing out that the Hall County School District is leasing a building in the city of Gainesville from Adams Transport and Storage. This building is the location of the central warehouse for storage along with shipping and receiving. Since November 2024, I have implored the board to investigate other options. Why? The Hall County School District was pouring $76,000 per year into leasing this facility. I even toured it after discovering that there was no inventory list. Do you know what's in the facility? Since the last meeting, when I mentioned the $45,000 increase in budget line number 501, I submitted an open records request for the FY26 payments on this line item and the supporting documentation for the increase from a budgeted amount of $79,800 last year to $125,000 this year. I should note that this line item typically includes the rental of the Ramsey Center for some various activities with the school, totaling just over $5,000. It's not pertinent to this part, but it is included in the final total. The budget amount for FY26 was $79,800. The administration of the Hall County School District exceeded the budget on item number 501 by $21,427, spending $101,227. Were you asked to approve an item going over budget by 27%? In my experience, you should have been publicly consulted on this one. So we are now on the fourth amendment to a lease that began in 2014. The price for leasing this facility has increased from $5,096 per month in February 2024 to $9,566 per month in March 2026. That's an 87.7% increase in 2 years. To put this another way, we were paying $79,595 last year, but this year it's going to be $114,800. This is not sustainable. Now's the time to show the citizens that you're serious about overseeing a budget. It's time to create a plan to move everything out of the central warehouse by the end of February 2027 when this lease expires. I was told it would cost $2 million to create something comparable, but we don't need something comparable. We don't need a Rolls Royce when we can do a sedan. You've got vacant buildings and vacant property. Show us you are on the side of the people who elected you.
Mandy Harris.
Hello. I'd like to start out by saying that I know all exemptions that are voted for are for the benefit of a specific group of people. And we all know that. So this room consistently has a conversation that makes it clear that the senior exemptions are a problem and cost a lot of money, and now the new homestead exemptions are going to be a drain on the budget. But nobody ever talks about the CUVA exemptions. And so I'd just like to give you one real-life example of what a CUVA exemption does for somebody. There is a 26.5-acre piece of property in Hall County that is just a wooded piece of property. Nothing's ever been done on it, not in the 23 years that I have passed by that piece of property. The 2024 tax bill was for, in their 10th year of their CUVA, was $248.19. That's for 26.5 acres. The school portion of that was $166.66. So it came out of CUVA. In 2025, the tax bill was $8,243.20, being it was not in CUVA. The school portion was $5,537.02. Those are real numbers. So that means for 10 years of CUVA, this particular property saved more than $50,000. So y'all lost more than $50,000 in your school budget because of that. So I would like to say there are benefits everywhere, but specifically, the seniors in this county need a break. The homeowners in this county need a break. We are struggling to feed and clothe and house our children that go to school here. And what we don't necessarily want is for really you to be feeding them breakfast, you to be feeding them lunch. I mean, the lunch program, we should be paying for it. And we don't need you to send them meals home in the summertime. We need enough money left in our own pockets to be able to feed our own children, our own menus, and to put them in houses that we feel safe and comfortable in without struggling to come up with every dime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and would like to point out that there hasn't been a person on this board that I've worked with in 21 years that doesn't want to take care of seniors. There are a number of exemptions, and I would say that 25% of your current digest is exempt from school taxes. If we did not have exemptions in this county, your millage rate would be 11.3. And so it doesn't have to do with seniors. It has to do when you tell somebody they don't have to pay, then somebody does have to pay, whether that's agriculture, whether that's seniors. And so again, nobody has talked about not thinking seniors that are struggling shouldn't get a break. Everybody on this board believes in taking care of widows and orphans. But the reality is if you're going to exempt 25% of your digest, your millage rate's going to go up for the rest of us that pay taxes.
And I think the exemption right now, the 25% he's talking about, totals to about $3.5 billion worth of property that's currently exempt in Hall County. I believe that's what the digest had it listed as.
Yes, sir, just a slight bit more than that. Yes, sir.
And just for clarity, the school system does not select who gets exempt. That's done through local legislation voted on by the public. We have no say in that.
I'm sorry, sir, did you say 3 million or 3 billion?
3 billion. There's $3.5 billion worth of property in Hall County that is currently exempt for one reason or another from school taxes. Frank?
According to the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, schools with on-site solar electric can reduce electricity costs by 20 to 40%. For 2025-26, the Hall County School District paid GEMCO more than $2.7 million. Just to put that in perspective, that's $2.7 thousand checks. Had the district had solar electric installed, nearly $1 million would have been saved. The saving over 3 years would pay for 1 year of electricity use. The damage prevented from being done to our environment would have been beneficial to everyone. Using power purchase agreements, schools can lock in steady electricity pricing for 20 to 30 years, creating budget certainty that supports better financial planning. Solar installations also create more educational opportunities for students. Schools can incorporate solar into their curriculum by using real-time energy data in math and science classes, hosting classroom presentations on renewable energy, and using solar electric systems as hands-on learning tools for system education. Solar electric provides an exceptional way to face increasing budget challenge.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. The next one, I'm not positive of the name, Diane Ritter. Was I close? I'm sorry. Close enough, okay.
Hi, thank y'all for allowing me to be here tonight. I'm a citizen of the Sardis community. I've been there since 1980. I know I don't look it, but I got 46 years of paying taxes to the Hall County school system. In 4 years, I will be paying 50 years worth of taxes. My people are from Atlanta. I'm a proud graduate of an Atlanta City school, and all my people are still in Atlanta, a few over the mountain. And so what I've come to find out in all the counties around us, the exemption starts at 65, and we're going to 70. You know, so can we say uncle? We just need a little break here like everybody's talking about. But the real deal is we do appreciate what Hall County is doing for our students, and especially the safety portion we got to see tonight. But we do need to understand that there comes a point in time that we need to look at where are some other avenues that the school system can start pulling funds from. I know that there's been big growth in Hall County and apartments and all these other people who are coming here to live that don't pay property taxes. I think there's some time to look for some outside-the-box thinking and how we can start being able to get some revenue from those people too. And so with that, I appreciate it. I love Hall County. I want to stay in Hall County, but it's becoming increasingly suspect that that's going to happen. I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was it Diane? Donna, I'm sorry. Well, I just want to say I appreciate the spirit in which you spoke to us. And much of that, I know I personally agree with. If it passes in November, the exemption will go to age 66, correct?
66.
So that will be that will be huge. That is one that will affect me, so.
It will go to 66 for Hall County school students only.
Right.
Doesn't include Gainesville or Beaufort.
Doesn't include Gainesville or
It
Beaufort.
only includes Hall County School District. It doesn't include Gainesville and Beaufort. Theirs will stay at 70.
So as to your point about thinking outside the box, I know I've contacted some of our legislators, our local delegation that did come up with the exemption, taking it to 66. And I'm not standing here whining about that because if I take advantage of that exemption, I'm going to get a raise next year. But those guys have, a couple of them have agreed, we must find additional pockets of revenue because, as we've said for at least the last 15 years, that it is unsustainable. I do personally believe that having to sit on this board and help manage these things, especially in the last, since years 2019, 2020, it is unsustainable for property taxes to do what they are. And but we are somewhat, very much dependent on what the state of Georgia is going to do. We are not casting stones or throwing the blame on them, but the facts are the facts, and we need to work together with them. So I appreciate your comments. I appreciate the spirit of your comments.
Chris
Mr.
Slade.
Chairman, the folk, our team in the booth asked that if you're coming up to speak, you can probably hear me better as I'm leaning in. If you can do your best to keep the microphone close to you, not only so we can hear in here, but also so folks watching can hear. Thank you.
Good evening. I, like everybody else, are paying taxes here, and I have no children, and I have no problem paying the taxes. What my problem is that the test scores keep going down. It's on green. Okay, sorry about that. The test scores keep going down, and I look to you people as opportunity creators. And right now, we're not creating any opportunities. Every single school, every single high school in Hall County has decreased in their test scores this past year. So we're going backwards, we're not going forwards. And I don't have any problem paying for excellent results, but we're not getting excellent results. We're going backwards. So that's, we need to learn, if we were improving, that would be great, but we're not. So I have a real problem paying more taxes for poor results. So until we can increase our results, that's where my problem lies. I also think that since there is no driver's ed program, that's a safety issue for these children. And I think that children should be taught driver's ed because that is life-changing for them. And you're not only creating a safety hazard for the children, but you're also creating a safety hazard for other people on the road. And that is a skill that people need to be able to drive. And you're endangering lives by not teaching driver's ed to these children. So I think you need to reevaluate some of the programs that you're offering to these kids. Again, with test scores dropping, they're missing out on scholarships. These kids are graduating with an 8th grade reading level. So I find it hard to pay more in taxes when academics are going down. Thank you very much.
Todd Hawkins?
I am sorry, I just wrote down that in case I wanted to speak, that's why I put down yes. But, thank you. I really appreciate everybody's comments. They've gone a long ways, and hopefully you'll listen to us because, you know, I understand everybody needs a raise, wants a raise. I did like the one person who talked about finding alternative ways to raise taxes. Personally, I like a sales tax because then you got some opportunity to decide what you want to buy and how you want to buy it. So maybe in the future we could look at a 1-cent sales tax that goes directly to funding schools. But as a citizen of Hall County for approximately 30 years, I find my taxes continue to go up year after year. And I just run the numbers this day, and I didn't break out school taxes versus county taxes. But, you know, I'm paying basically $425 a month just to keep my house. So I'm renting my house from the government. And as the other person said, you know, when we look at school scores, and I understand because I was in the education business for a while, but, you know, we've got to do something. You look at the tardy rate, not the tardy rate, but the absenteeism rates. So I understand we got some big challenges, but we've got to find some other way to do it besides taxing people out of their homes. Thank you very much.
Couldn't agree with you more. We've been saying also for 2 decades, property tax is a terrible way to pay for schools, but it's the only thing we're allowed to do in the state of Georgia right now. So appreciate what you're saying, and I hope you'll tell the same things to your legislators.
I know they are talking about a 1% or 1-cent sales tax. That's for county governments, does not include schools at this time. So you talk to your legislators to give us alternate funding methods. Right now, all we have is property taxes. We don't, they did present a 1-cent sales tax for the county governments, city governments that could pass that to offset property taxes, but it's not for school systems. Ms. Reed or Mr. Reed? Sorry, I'm not positive of the first name here. Lena Reed? It's Reed. Just, yeah, Reed.
Mr. Walker, do we not have driver's ed in the summer?
Gainesville College does that. I think they do it down at the, I call it Gainesville College. UNG at Oakwood furnishes it.
I thought our SROs provided.
Yes, the sheriff's office does offer a driver's education program in the summertime. We split the county with 6 weeks of training, 3 weeks up at Chesapeake High School, the other 3 down at Cherokee Bluff High School. Now, we don't give them on-road driving, but we do spend 40 hours a week with them, giving them some kind of, you know, knowledge to get them for their driver's license and stuff like that. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Cheryl, next. I have a Cheryl.
Well, I wrote down what I wanted to say, and then I walked off and left most of it at home. Our schools, I mean, everybody agrees that we're having to pay too much taxes. People who don't even have kids are paying taxes. And who are we paying these taxes for? Our schools are flooded with Hispanic students. Some of them don't even speak English, which tells me that's a whole nother problem. East Hall kids, it's only 32% white, and the test scores are the worst, 18% math. I don't know if it's a cultural issue or some of them not speaking English or both, but feel like the kids, the white kids are probably, and black kids, are not getting the education they need, because our teachers are being spread too thin trying to teach kids that shouldn't even be in our schools. But that's not the only problem. Hall's revenue per student is just slightly lower than Forsyth County's, but our superintendent cost per student is 79% higher. That makes Hall way less efficient. Our taxes are paying for Schofield's huge salary. Based on this, Hall County students, Hall is spending $9.11. Forsyth County is only spending a little over $5, yet Forsyth County scores are excellent. Our education budget, it seems it's not being used for education. Hall spends 79% more per student. That's because of salaries, and it ain't teacher salaries, because we spend less on our teachers than Forsyth County does. Hall County spends a lot more money on Schofield than Forsyth spends on Dr. Young. The top earners: superintendent, technology director, instructional supervisors, federal programs director, PR personnel. These are all being paid a lot more money than Forsyth County is paying. And yet, their scores, their test scores, are really great. Hall County's leadership and specialized roles play higher compensation than Forsyth's principal level positions. Our taxes aren't being used for education. Our money, it seems, is being used for salaries, but not teacher salaries.
Thank you. As the proud grandson of immigrants who came to this country in 1912, I thank the God in heaven that I serve, that we serve every student who comes to our schools every day, regardless of where they have come from. I shudder to think what would have happened had people decided that my grandparents who immigrated here in 1912, for some reason, didn't deserve to be here.
Eric, you're next to speak.
If I could say something before we change. I'm a former teacher from East Hall High School, and I'll tell you, I had a fabulous career there, and I love that school. I became principal of East Hall Middle School. I was very proud of that school. They have some fabulous teachers and outstanding kids at that school. My children attended those schools. My son is a PA, and he's currently in law school to get an additional degree, and my daughter's a dentist, and they graduated from East Hall High School. So I know great things are going on there because I didn't teach them. They were taught by people at East Hall High School, and they had great leadership. So I'd like to say that. And then the other thing I'd like to say, too, is everybody wants to get on the, the salary issue. The state sets a lot of the salaries that we have already. And as far as Will Schofield's salary, I'll have to say he should be the highest paid superintendent in the state of Georgia. He is the longest sitting superintendent in the state. And he has been here, and since I've been on this board, I know, I observed it myself, he has turned down raises that he earned because he told us he didn't want his salary raised anymore. On teachers, we raise their salary every year. There's a salary schedule. He's turned that down. So, you know, he may make more money than what you think he should, but he's earned that because of the time he's put in. And you know, I just think that sometimes people look at that and they don't understand that, you know, that
Maybe it's time to go find another job.
Well, you know, again, you could
Thank you for the
say that
resume.
about
I'll
teachers
start
too.
talking
Teachers'
my
salaries
time.
get raised every year,
Okay.
and we treat them fairly, so, you know.
That's enough with the cheerleading, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. I have an opinion also, just like
Okay,
you
yeah,
do.
we don't
Thank
have
you.
to remind- Okay.
Thanks.
All right, go ahead, Eric.
Okay, I really don't have time for this tonight. I had other things I could be doing tonight besides this, quite honestly. And Mr. Schofield, we are a nation of not immigrants, we're a nation of citizens and laws. And that means that you obey the law when you come here. So illegal immigration is the only laws on our books that the offspring of the criminals get the benefit from their crime. nearly $750,000 is spent on migrant education. 49% of the student body in this school system is Hispanic or foreign-born. Upwards of 80% of Johnson High School is Hispanic or foreign-born. 14%, upwards of 14% from U.S. News and World Report, not exactly a right-wing publication, showing 14% or upwards of 14 to 15, 18% probably now, of illegal immigration in Gainesville City proper alone. You say, well, we have no control over who we educate. Well, then start sharpening your pencils and cutting budgets other places until you do. I am tired of paying more money and have to waste my time to come down here to get you people, to yell at you people, and stay in your faces for my property taxes keep going up for people that don't even speak English, don't even belong in this country. I am tired of educating the children of illegal immigrants, the anchor babies, if you will. And until you start cutting the budget in other areas, I mean, the irony, of course, being that the driver's ed program, well, most of the parents wouldn't qualify to have driver's licenses in the first place. So, you know what? You want to complain about not having enough money, and you want to complain, well, we don't, you have to wring your hands about, well, we can't control who we have to educate them all. Then you better start sharpening pencil and cutting salaries, cutting other areas until you have control over it. Because people like me are going to start getting involved. I got dragged back into politics again. I was involved in politics in Nashville, Tennessee for several years. I fought the income tax in Tennessee. I was on talk radio. I worked with Fred Thompson and Marsha Blackburn. Now I got dragged back into it again to protect my property taxes in the zoning area where I live in Claremont. So I'm not up here because I want to be up here tonight and to grandstand. I'm up here because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of paying more taxes, and you keep saying, well, we got to have more money. Screw it. I don't want you people getting more of my money, and it's going to stop. We're not going to raise the taxes anymore. We're not going to raise the millage rate. We're not going to play the shell game with my money anymore until people start sharpening your pencils and start taking away other money. If you have to educate the illegal immigrants, then you better start cutting the budget elsewhere. Thank you.
All right, that concluded community input. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? All in favor?